this is the account placement page. This is where you start the whole collection process. We recommend you do this at least once a month. Some of our clients place accounts on a weekly basis, but at least check your accounts once a month to see if you have any accounts that are over 90 days and get those over to us as quickly as possible. You start the process right here on the Quick Links menu by choosing account placement. On the first line, there's two options. Is your customer an individual or are they a business? We're going to start with individual. In the next space, you're going to choose the date of placement, which is defaulted for today, and most times that's what it's going to be. The day that you are actually entering the account is going to appear here. In the next space, there is an option to choose your level of service. Some of our clients have multiple levels of service, and you would choose the appropriate one for the balance size of the account that you're placing. If you only have one level of service, it's going to default to that service. So you can see there's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and titanium. In this case, let's just use gold, for example. Next is the customer account number. So this number is the number that you use to reference your customer. And this is not a number that we necessarily use, but it creates a situation where you're able to, in the future, search accounts by on the status report by that account number. So put in that customer account number here. Next is your customer name. Whoops. And then you're going to put in their address, city, state, and zip code. So let me do that quickly. Okay, the next space is for home phone number, cell phone number, and email. Now, sometimes you won't have all this information, even with the address. You won't have an accurate address. Maybe you have an older address, but we need whatever information you have available. Put that here so that we have a place to start when we do skip tracing for a new address or phone number or email address. So let me put that in here. Okay. Now these next fields, you can see each one of them is required, and this is a requirement under the new federal regulations called Regulation F, which went into place for all third-party debt collectors in November of 2021. This is new, and these are the requirements. So the first date that we need here is the date of the last statement or invoice that you sent them. And let's say that last month you sent them an invoice on the 15th, so we'll choose that date here. Then the next question is, what is the balance on that statement or invoice? How much did they owe you when you sent that statement? We'll say $1,550. Since then, have you added any interest to this account? This interest has to be broken out because the last time you reached out to this debtor, they were told they owed you $1,550. If that changes, which it's going to, when we send them a notice, we have to be able to explain to them why that balance is different than the notice they got from you last month. So we're going to need to know whatever interest was added. Let's say it's $12.50. And then any additional fees. Now, most of our clients will add on a collection charge here. It's typically equal to or slightly more than the fee that we charge for collections. So let's just use a number here of $21 for an example. We also have to account for any payments or credits that have been made since that April 15th date that we last billed them. So in this case, let's say there's no payments that have been made. And then we need a current balance, which is the math portion of these numbers. In the future, we'll have this where it calculates this automatically, but let's call this 1550 plus 21 is 1571, 1581, 1583.50. Okay, so that is the amount that we are going to pursue on your behalf, $1583.50, the balance after interest, fees, and any payments or credits have been identified. The next field is what we call delinquency date. This is the date that the account was considered past due. This is the date that credit reporting starts. It could have been last month, it could have been last year, and we need to know that so that when we put it on their credit report, it starts the clock, which is 7 years long, for the length of time that this can stay on their credit report. So we're going to choose a date here based on when the account was past due. If they got service from you on September 1st and your terms are net 30, then on October 1st, the account should have been due, and October 2nd, it would be considered past due or delinquent. So even though you did some billing and didn't place the account with us until May, this would be the date that you considered it past due. In the next space is employment information. This helps us if we're going to do if we're going to end up ultimately getting a judgment and then attempting to garnish wages. So we would need this information here. I'll just type that in quickly. For an example. And then if you have the employer's phone number, that's great as well. We can obviously locate this information, but if you have it, it's valuable to help us get started. Social Security number. Oops. No dashes. Okay, Social Security number, that's easy. And obviously that's going to help us tie the proper person for credit reporting to their Social Security number and their credit file. And then this space is for any additional information that you might want us to know. Typically, we don't need anything else besides this to get started. We would need it if there was some type of a dispute, but we're going to reach out to you in that dispute. But if you think there's something specific that you would want us to know, you can put that information here. Next, we're going to click Submit, and that's going to send the placement to our system, and you're going to get a copy of that placement in an email from us. Also, you can download the copy of that as well as a PDF here. It's the same file that you're going to get in the email. And if for some reason you felt you made a mistake or you read the PDF and you saw a mistake, you can edit your response here. After that, click Add Another Response, and you're ready to place your second account. Now let me show you an example of business. Everything is exactly the same as individual, but when you choose business, you'll see right here we've added the business name and a contact person and title. So you can see those will drop out when we go there. So that's it. Pretty straightforward. You can place dozens of accounts in a very short period of time. Typically, once you are organized at the beginning, you can place your account within a couple of minutes, and you can place a dozen of them in 15 or 20 minutes pretty easily. If you have higher volume and you need to place them all at once, let's say 25 accounts or more, 50 accounts, 100 accounts, we have ways that you can place those with us by submitting an Excel spreadsheet. So we'll cover that in a different video.